Good morning. Welcome to Blood Moon Oracle. We are going to take a look at the encouragement coming in from Spirit today. How are you guys doing? Happy beginning of the week. Happy Moon Day. And so let's take a look. I hope the weekend was restful for you all. It was for me. It was a really relaxed, eventful but relaxed weekend, and so I do feel refreshed. I also feel charged and energized, like ready to work, And so let's take a look and see what the energy is coming in today. Today I'm pulling from my Oracle of Portals deck to see what encouragement is coming. I do feel like we are definitely in this very transformational time where we could be transcending situations, things, processes, experiences, circumstances, right? And so let's take a look though. What is the encouragement of the day, Spirit? Yeah, like I said. Yeah. So first of all, we have graduation. Beautiful, beautiful. And then we have past. Okay. So we're talking about portals. And for those of you that are watching, you may not know like exactly what that means. A portal is it's actually a phenomenon, right? And it's almost like we can consider it like time travel or teleportation. It's movement from one place to another, from one time to another. It's like stepping into another reality, if we can say that. And it's talking about liminal spaces, sacred spaces, and standing between worlds, between times, between one way of existing or being and another. Or it could even represent like a literal threshold, right, before us, that we're not in or out, right? And so let's see, this is what we're talking about today. And I feel like for many of us, life represents like many different portals, right? First of all, we come out of one, as women, we are portals. And everyone that comes into the world comes in through our portal. Women are portals. We have portals. Our wombs are portals, and it's moving from one state right into another, from the womb into the world. That's an example of a portal, right? And every time we do that, it's happening all the time. We're moving through portals when we switch from day to night, when we switch from waking to sleeping, right? When we switch from working to resting, we're entering into portals, right? When we switch from living in our one space in our home and we move over into another, it's moving through portals. Doors are opening and we're stepping through them, right? And so even when we talk about celebrating, we're ushering in things like the new year. For some of y'all, the new year is around December. For some of y'all that are spiritual and understand astrology and the spiritual time, spiritual clock, we don't celebrate that till like the first couple of months in the year passes, right? But whatever that is, it's a perspective that we enter into this new season, right? Sunrise to sunset, right? All of those are portals. And so just to give a little perspective on what we're talking about here. And so the first energy that came out was graduation. And so for someone, this is a cycle of learning that has been completed or is about to be completed, right? And I feel like Spirit is letting you know, whether this is literal, you're in a literal school, or whether you've been in this kind of spiritual learning state where you're learning new ways of being. You're learning about things that aren't necessarily tangible in the physical. It could be learning, about things that exist beyond the veil, learning new ways of experiencing spirituality, whatever that is. Like, you're being invited to actually move up to the next level. Right? We all know what a graduation is, right? It's moving from one place to the next. And it does have a lot to do with learning when we talk about graduating. So there's some level of learning that you have. And it's very interesting, the colors represented here, from the root all the way up to the crown. We have yellows, and then it graduates to the purple, right? And so there is some level of graduation. For some of you, this could be around just exhaling when it comes to balancing yourself spiritually, energetically, right? And you're moving into your next exciting, part of your journey, your next exciting adventure. And so Spirit is saying this morning, congratulations. Congratulations, you did it. Like, you've learned what you needed to know. Because you've done that, like, you're reaching the end of a cycle, the end of a situation. You don't have to do this no more. The end of a relationship, or the end of some type of condition, or standing on a principle of a beautiful, you're standing on the precipice, on the edge of a beautiful new phase for whoever you are. This card is very beautiful to me. It just feels very celebratory. And if this is you, this may be a good time to look deeply, and you'll know why this card is appearing for you. Like, you've already received this message. This is not news. This is just a confirmation for you, because Spirit has already been talking to you about it being time. And it's time to move forward. It's time to actually grow and move upward and experience new things. So now this is validation for you to go ahead and release anything of the old, right? Any conditions that no longer serve you, so that you can start moving and planning and taking steps towards the new. Okay. Now, you can definitely feel the friction right now, like from the old to the new circumstances. You may have questions. Endings may feel very painful or conflictual. You may feel triumphant and very happy and glad. You may feel liberated, right? You may feel both of those things, and that's okay too. But there's going to be this emotional experience that goes along with this, whatever that is, because every part of our being is graduating, not just the physical, not just the spiritual, but it's also emotional, every element of how we are able to exist is coming, right? Is graduating too. And so you may in fact be feeling different kinds of emotions here. But honor them, feel them. It's important that you make this transition holy. It's important that you make this transition as one, and this is really a reminder to celebrate that you've actually reached a level where you're now able to move forward. Spirit is moving you forward. That's the message for you. Okay? And if anything is not saying that mentally, if you're not feeling that mentally, this is an invitation to reframe the way that you're thinking, the way that you're seeing things. This is an invitation to change your perspective, okay? And so this is about making room for more, for your greater self, for compassion, for self-kindness and self-love, okay? So make sure to give yourself the celebration that you deserve. Give yourself some level of celebratory gift, okay? Like a vacation or just something that you love to eat, a delicious meal, a warm bath, something that you realize you're celebrating yourself over, because this is your announcement to yourself that you receive this message, that you receive this graduation to the next level, okay? And the next card was past, okay? That's coming through as well. And of course, we already know this has something to do with leaving things behind, right? We did mention that just a little bit with graduation, the fact that we are moving on. Past brings up the energy that there's only one moment, and that's the present moment, right? But at the same time, we are able to, like we were talking about portals, right? We're able to experience this present moment in many different ways. It's multi-layered, with the past. And our current situation actually has roots in the past. We understand that. And so this may be a time to actually take a look before we move forward. Take a look and see where it is that we've come from, to examine our roots, which will be our roots, right? When we move forward, to examine where it is that we just came from. There could be things that need to be dealt with there, like trauma, challenges from even childhood that's carried to this point. Or adolescence, or your younger adulthood experiences that you've had. And these things could actually play a part in how you're seeing things today. It could be coloring your vision right now. And this could point to reoccurring cycles that keep happening, or themes. It could be time to again, like we were talking about with graduation, upgrade your level of love for yourself. To deeply ask yourself, like, what it is that you need, and be ready to give it. Be ready to give it to yourself. So for those that may be dealing with difficulties concerning others, like say if you're in a situation where things aren't exactly great, maybe with another person, is there a time in the past where maybe you had a similar experience that feels very familiar, like the one that you're in right now? Right? That's a pattern, right? That's what I mean when I say cycles, how we end up in the same situations. I've been meaning to do a commentary on this movie called Blink Twice. And it's almost talking about, there was a couple of things that stood out in that movie for me. One was unconscious patterns that we find ourselves in. And it was about this girl who ended up in a very terrible situation. And because of the circumstances, she lost her memory. Well, it was taken from her. But subconsciously, she was still being drawn back to that same situation, and found herself in the same situation again after all of the horrific events that happened the first time, because it's a psychological drawing. It's a psychological attraction that's happening. Sometimes we end up in the same patterns and we don't even realize we're just going through these patterns, these cycles. And so this card is asking that you open up those memories, those things that, are playing into the future, especially because we're graduating right now. We're about to ascend. to a higher level. Before ascending, it's very useful to do that, to take a look at where we just came from. Some of the lessons we learned there, some of the things that weren't, they weren't things that we want to remember or brag about, or they're things that we may want to just dig a hole and pour it in that hole and never dig it up ever again. But it's stuff that we need to take a look at so we don't end up digging it up unconsciously, and pulling it back out and repeating it. And so it's looking at our patterns, and not only regarding us, right? This is even being willing to look back at your parents' patterns and your grandparents' patterns, even your ancestors. Did they face a similar issue, right? This is really digging deep, okay? And this also is around, past life that could be arising now. For those of you that understand that, that could be arising now, allowing you the opportunity to change the response, to do something different, to change the trajectory, right? You've been selected to heal, to grow, and to move on from it. Yes, you've been selected to do that. And so looking into the past, we need to do that with a lot of self-compassion, okay? This is not about you looking back to criticize yourself or to condemn yourself. This is the opposite. This is going back to tell yourself, listen, you're okay. I'm so proud of you. You did the very best that you could with what you had, and you are amazing for that. Look what you did with that, and look where you've come. Like, we're about to move to the next level. I am so proud of you. That's what this is about. This isn't about shaming self and condemning self. Like, this is an opportunity for you to look at your past self in love, and even give your past self love that you may not have received in that time, right? And so I feel like this is definitely a perfect card to match with this moving forward, this graduation card, because there's so much emphasis on our present and our future that's coming from the past. It's so true. And so there comes a need to go back and heal the past, basically, is what this is saying. If there's anything that hasn't been dealt with, let's deal with it. Okay? And so for some of us, right, we're talking about dealing with the DNA, the memories, the spiritual blueprint, right? This is the filament of our past, and it exists in those forms, and you can change it. The reality is you can change it. We can change our relationships with all things, not just relationships with other people, with ourselves. We could change our relationship with money. We could change our relationship with, food for some of us, and so this is going to take a look at the things that need healing, okay? And confronting the things that aren't true. When we go back to the past and take a closer look and realize and come to peace with it, we will find things that was not true. We were believing a lie, right? That's part of it too. And sometimes we're not sure what that past condition is about, or, even if we're seeing it correctly. But this is really about using our intuition, right? This is part of exercising the intuition. And so it necessitates a careful handling. Okay, so this may need to be done in a very gentle way, okay? So let's take a look. I'm going to pull out some Oracle from my original Rider-Waite Tarot deck. We're making good timing today. All right. So what is, give us more information here, Spirit. What is the encouragement for today? Please and thank you. Spirit is saying, this is your time. This is your time. Yes. Yep. All right. So we have the Queen of Cups, very compassionate energy, very intuitive, comforting, nurturing, healing support. And then we have the Five of Cups. Now the Five of Cups is moving away. It's mourning. It's acknowledging needing to walk away from something as much as you may not want to. The Five of Cups is a time of grieving, right? A loss. You know, this could be kind of looking back in the past. We have the King of Wands, which is bold, courageous, very inspirational, motivational, very charming energy. And then we have the Four of Wands, which is about home, family, community, celebration. And so, and the Seven of Cups on the bottom. And so I feel like we're dealing with energies of really taking a moment to do this. The Queen is nurturing, is comforting, compassionate, and it's towards self though. This is pitted towards self. There comes a time where, especially for those of us that are the healers, right? We heal everybody. Everyone comes to us because we carry that kind of energy, that very receptive, intuitive, comforting, listening, always have the right thing to say or do. We carry that energy, but there comes a time that we need to turn that energy inward on ourselves, right? It's time to partake in your own healing. It's time to partake in your own gifts, in your own love that you pour out, right? It's time to actually partake of that for yourself. And as we were talking about moving away from things, coming to grips with what actually is time to leave behind, right? This could be entering into a period of having to process that and ending grief around having to leave even the old self, right? When we actually graduate, don't you know that that's a little bit, we always see the celebration, but we don't see the other end of that, right? We're talking about, you know, you've been with these people for years, 4 years, 8 years, if you're looking at a doctorate, or, you know, whatever amount of time that you've poured into studying and striving, you know, around test time, around, you know, examinations, around going out and doing experiments. Like, you've cultivated a way of life here. And now you're being asked to leave it to go somewhere else. There's a bit of grief involved there. And I'm just using graduation as an example. But we're talking about there's stages in life where we've been for a while. And then when we come to a point where we're asked to move away and move to the next level, or to carry something from that stage forward and to do something else with it, it sometimes is a little bit, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult. And Spirit is not saying that it's supposed to be easy. Spirit recognizes that. but this is something that we are being asked to do, because what we're leaving behind, as you can see, he's kind of crying over the 3 cups that spilled, but his back is to the other 2, which are the most important. These 2 are more valuable than the 3 that spilled, right? And what those 2 hold is everything and more that is needed for his movement forward, for the journey forward. And so there really isn't a loss, but there is gain, right? There's gain in moving forward. And so with the King of Wands, right, this is actually the energy of being equipped. Now, the King of Wands is actually pretty invincible energy. The King of Wands, if there is a way, the King of Wands is going to do it, right? It's really this very inspirational, motivated energy. And it's all in the intuition too. You know, there's this level of growing into your shoes, into your pants, into your clothes. I feel like someone is definitely growing, and they're growing into this very inspirational being, this very inspirational energy, right? That's going to be very useful too, right? And this is part of the graduation. I feel like this is where you're going. This is the energy that you're stepping into. A place of leadership as well. And the 4 of Wands is the graduation. This is the energy of celebration, of happiness. And so let's see, what is the encouragement here, Spirit? And so we have the 3 of Wands and the Magician. The 3 of Wands and the Magician. And so there could be feelings of not really knowing, you know, that could be the challenge here. It's like, well, okay, but what is it? You're saying, you know, we're moving forward, we're transitioning, we're moving, we're graduating, but I don't see it. I don't feel it, right? What is it, right? Could be the question. You could be having questions like that moving forward. Part of this too is believing in self. And I feel like as you go back to assess some things from the past, there's definitely going to be some things made clear on your movement forward. Just in recognizing what you've moved away from, I think for many of us, that's part of our motivation to move forward. It's like, whoo, I didn't realize I came through so much, and I definitely don't want to relive that or go back there. So let's go. What are we doing? Like, I'm waiting for the open door. You know, part of that is being open to and understanding the vast potential that lies before you, and the fact that you are positioned to move into those places. See, the Magician is an energy that is definitely very intuitive and is believing. There's a lot of willpower here, right? And coming from the past, that's where we get our willpower, because we're not doing that no more. We're not going back there. When we realize the depth of what we've come from, it's like, wow, let's do this. Let's move forward. That's where that willpower comes from. And there is an energy of wanting to create, right? And the Magician has everything needed. If you look here on the picture, there is water element, we have cups, there is swords, we have the mental element needed, right? The mental power, we have the pentacle there on the table, which is anything earthly, right? Sensing anything that we need physically, resources, right? We have water, we have that intuition, like everything that's needed, the magician has. There's nothing lacking. And there may be not the realization yet that this is you, that you stand with the opportunity in front of you, a vast opportunity to actually create whatever it is that you want. You know, when we come to the point in life where we realize we are creating our life, we are creating our circumstances, things change. The way that we move changes. And that's what this is saying, that you're in the driver's seat right now. And it's coming in as a challenge because you may not recognize that. You may not recognize that you have everything that you need right now in those 2 cups. Everything. And the door has been opened for you. You have graduated. That's what the 3 of Wands means. It means expansion, moving up to the next level, growth, right? Looking ahead. It's time. I don't know if you've watched that movie by Will Smith. What was the name of that movie? Something about happiness, striving for happiness. And he was raising his son alone, and he was trying to make it to become this stock market, investor, or this. He was trying to make an opportunity for himself within this company to change his life. And he was like at the lowest of the low. And he had his son with him, and he became homeless, and he owed people money. Like he didn't have anywhere to turn. And it was showing like the lowest point in his life. If the tower was, a reality, that is what the tower would look like. It would look like him at that moment in his life. And I say that to say this is kind of like realizing, and what's possible, and doing everything in your power, right? He ends up getting the job, right? And turning his life around for him and his son. But there were some difficult moments in that realization as he was actually realizing his potential and what he wanted and how he saw himself in the future, even though it didn't look like that in the current situation. The current situation said we're homeless. We owe people money. We don't have any support. We don't have a head or a bed. We don't have a bed to lay our heads on. I can't even take care of myself, let alone a child. Yet he's pushing every day. Every day he manages to drop his child off at daycare. Every day he manages to make it to work on time, with all of this happening in the background in life, right? Because of the vision. Because he'd become very settled with where he came from, but that's not where he sees himself in the future. He made up in his mind, this is where we're from, but this is not where we're going to end up. And so he does end up getting the job. I wish I remembered the name. Something about happiness. Our right to pursue. Oh, that's what it was. In Pursuit of Happiness, right? That movie is what's coming up. And so the challenge is you don't possibly see or realize the open door for you, the potential that lies ahead of you, and that you have everything in you to realize it, right? But Spirit is making that announcement today because you do. You do. And all that's needed is for you to decide, right? It's a difficult decision. Nobody said it was easy, but it's deciding, okay? In moving past any opposition that may be standing in your way, you may be feeling blocked right now, but those are just illusions, right? If she was to take this blindfold off, She has a blindfold on. She would be able to see very clearly what's in front of her. That's all that's needed, is to take the blindfold off and decide to move forward. There's nothing holding you back but you. All right. And so if you haven't watched that movie, for some of you, maybe Spirit wants you to go back and watch that, In Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. But this is the message today. You are at a moment where you are graduating to the next level. This is your graduation. We're here today because we are celebrating you. Congratulations. You've made it. Okay. Now let's move forward, right? Take the moment to actually come to reconciliation with your past, with the past, in all that it offers, right? We talked about that. If you have to go back and rewatch this video, do that, okay? But this is about you and coming to this moment of moving forward. It's your time. Congratulations. All right. If you are enjoying this movie, please like, share, enjoying this movie. Okay. If you are enjoying this bit of encouragement this morning, please like, share, comment. If you are new, take a moment to subscribe if you will. I am also open for personal private readings. There's a few different types of readings that I offer. Take a look by clicking on the link down in the description and go over to my scheduling page and take a look over there and schedule a personal reading with me, okay? Especially if you want to delve further into this. And I will be happy to, pull out more information specifically around your situation, okay? And with that being said, I'm going to post a video down here. If you like this one, maybe you'll like that one too. Take a look at that one. There's so many other things on my page to take a look at and more to come as well. I'm currently working on some things that I'm putting together to offer just more for us to actually learn from each other, learn from each of our experiences. That's why we're here. And so with that being said, thank you so much. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening and taking it in. And thank you for commenting when it does resonate. I appreciate all that love, all that reciprocation of energy. And I'm just pouring it out to y'all as Spirit gives it to me. Okay. Thank you. And until next time, take care of yourself and have a good beginning of your week. Bye.